Hello guys, I'm Dustin Davis and welcome to the channel. Here you'll find everything you need to know about the Chiefs. The Chiefs entered their matchup against Jacksonville carrying a 2-4 record that felt heavier than the numbers suggested. Questions about depth, scheme sustainability, and offensive consistency were no longer whispers. They'd become the defining threads of Kansas City's early season identity. While Mahomes' play remained a topic of analysis and the rushing attack continued to underwhelm, another concern quietly intensified: the organization's ability to generate consistent pressure without leaning entirely on its interior stars. Whether Steve Spagnuolo's creative blitz packages could mask thinness at the edge, or whether that thinness would eventually be exposed, remained an open question with real consequences. The Chiefs' front office faced choices that extended beyond game planning. Roster construction, health management, and the return of suspended contributors would all factor into whether this team could stabilize or whether the early stumbles signaled deeper structural issues that no amount of creativity could disguise. Given all the Chiefs' difficulties, strategic moves must be made. Let's check out everything that's happening in Kansas City. But first, can I ask you a quick favor? If you're enjoying the content, just hit that like button. It helps us more than you think. Thank you so much. In a surprising twist, social media recently erupted over a rumor that caught even insiders off guard. The notion that Kansas City would seriously consider releasing Travis Kelce, a franchise icon, was laughable on its face. Yet the volume of search queries and trending chatter around "is Travis Kelce cut from the Chiefs" gave the premise an outsized profile, forcing explanations and rebuttals in equal measure. The trend appeared driven by a mix of Kelce's recent dip in production and a brief, heated exchange with head coach Andy Reid, a moment that fueled speculation beyond its real significance. The attention itself was striking. The narrative revealed how quickly rumors can metastasize in a reactionary sports media environment. Fans eager for drama seized on every fragment of context, often mistaking a competitive moment for an organizational crisis. The result was a story that grew louder than the underlying facts warranted. Much of the buzz traced to a modest slide in Kelce's on-field production, combined with a visible exchange between him and Andy Reid in the heat of competition. Those elements alone didn't support a legitimate roster move, but together they created fertile material for the rumor engines. Heated interactions are standard in high-level football. Coaches and players often exchange strong words in the middle of games. Reid's comments, whatever their precise content, lacked the procedural weight of roster decisions. No verified evidence suggested the coach threatened an actual release. Any eventual departure for Kelce would almost certainly be of his own choosing and on his own timeline. A single in-game spat doesn't and won't determine a career or franchise relationship that has lasted more than a decade. For Kelce, sustained scrutiny is standard. His every move has been parsed both on and off the field in recent seasons. The recent spike in speculation reflected public appetite for sensationalism more than it reflected true instability within the Kansas City organization. Unless something extraordinary occurred, Kelce remained a foundational piece for Kansas City. The trending search moment was noise rather than a reliable indicator of roster intent. Trade chatter has intensified around a young star whose team appears ready to reset its direction. Breece Hall trade speculation and Jets' potential fire sale. With trade deadline chatter building, the New York Jets looked increasingly positioned to move pieces, and Breece Hall emerged as a frequently mentioned candidate. As the Chiefs search for more reliable production from their ground game, Hall's combination of receiving ability and explosive playmaking generated genuine interest among analysts and fans. New York's roster calculus and Kansas City's immediate needs converged in speculation. Hall's youth and pass-catching prowess made him an intriguing fit for a Mahomes-led offense that had struggled to generate consistent rushing efficiency early in the year. The Jets seemed likely to become sellers at the deadline, weighing options to reshape their roster. While names like Quincy Williams and Allen Lazard surfaced, Breece Hall's potential availability drew the most attention because of his role and contract trajectory. Bailey Bassett of Clutch Points argued that the Chiefs could use a back capable of handling early down work and creating mismatches in the passing game. With several receivers absent or limited by injury, an upgrade in the backfield would help diversify the offense. Hall was widely regarded as a top pass-catching running back, the sort of multi-purpose player who would fit neatly into Mahomes' offense. At 24, he would be both an immediate upgrade and potentially a re-signable asset to help Kansas City beyond a single season. Kansas City's offense had underperformed relative to expectations, and the running game hadn't provided consistent support. Adding a dynamic back could improve short yardage efficiency and create more favorable matchups in the short passing game. Beyond headline-grabbing names, the Chiefs are reportedly eyeing more modest upgrades to address depth concerns. As the trade deadline approached, the Kansas City Chiefs weighed whether to supplement the roster for the stretch run. While attention centered on wide receiver Rashee Rice's return, the team's depth at running back demanded equal scrutiny. Through the first 3 games, the ground game provided little consistent production. Quarterback Patrick Mahomes led the club in rushing with 125 yards, while Isaiah Pacheco managed 92 yards on 25 carries. Mahomes accumulated his total on only 18 attempts. Those numbers underlined the backfield that had yet to assert itself. Josh Weil of Pro Football Network pointed to Cleveland Browns running back Jerome Ford as a plausible target for Kansas City. Weil highlighted Ford's flashes of efficiency when spelling Nick Chubb and suggested he still had the ability to contribute in a complementary role. Last year, we saw what Jerome Ford could do backing up Nick Chubb, and with 5.4 yards per carry, I am pretty confident that Ford can still ball. However, it is a new season, and with Quinshon Judkins cleared and on the field, Ford caught 4 passes but didn't carry the ball once, Weil wrote. Getting a return on an asset that is falling out of favor is just good business, and the Browns could use some of that right now. The defense looks legit, and if they can play like they did in the fourth quarter against Green Bay last week, they can make some noise in a wide-open AFC North. It remained early to know how Kansas City would act at the deadline, but Ford figured to be one of the backs worth monitoring. A bolder proposal has emerged from analysts who believe Kansas City should pursue an established playmaker at any cost. Injuries and aging contracts thinned the depth chart. Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy missed significant time, and even Travis Kelce's output dipped from previous peaks. Given that landscape, targeting an established wide receiver 1 became a popular hypothetical for analysts and supporters alike. One proposal had the Chiefs targeting Chris Olave, a polished route runner who produced despite New Orleans' wider offensive struggles. Since returning from a concussion that cost him much of the season, Olave had been one of the Saints' most reliable playmakers and could offer instant spacing to Kansas City's attack. John Sigler of USA Today's Saints Wire outlined the mechanics of a potential trade and raised salary and contract considerations. Olave has a year left on his contract after the Saints picked up his option for 2026, so any team trading for him would be on the hook for his $15.5 million salary cap hit next season. He's going to be seeking a multi-year contract extension worth twice that. Trading him now would give his new team time to see how he performs in their offense and decide whether to extend him. Sigler compared Olave's value to prior receiver trades, citing A.J. Brown's move as a frame of reference, and suggested a late first-rounder or an early second-round pick could be closer to market reality than a mid-first round. Olave's injury history tempered the ceiling, but his efficiency in route running made him an attractive acquisition for a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes. In impact terms, Olave and Brown showed similarities as wide receiver 1s, though Brown's scoring punch had been greater historically. Still, a cost-controlled acquisition of Olave, who had years of team-friendly contract value remaining, could be a compelling short-term gamble for a Chiefs team chasing a title. The Chiefs' roster decisions over the coming weeks will shape not just this season, but potentially the next several years of the franchise. And here's the big one. If you're the Chiefs GM, are you making a bold move for Chris Olave or another established wide receiver 1? Or are you standing pat and trusting Rashee Rice's return to solve the receiving core issues? Leave a comment with what you would do. Before you leave, drop a like and subscribe. Be part of our fan base, and let's make Chiefs even stronger. Until the next video.